Hi friends! Welcome to Junodrome Tarot. I'm JP. Today we're going to be doing a reading on the upcoming moon cycle that begins with this Pisces new moon, which is on March 13th. The moon will grow or wax and culminate with the full moon in Libra on March 30th, and then it will wane into the next new moon on April 11th. So this reading is going to be all about that entire moon cycle. When we sync ourselves to the waxing and waning of the moon, it becomes a really great tool for us to really allow ourselves to have this emotional depth. It allows us to understand our own cycles, our own growth and shrinking, our own emotional changes and tumults. We're all human, and so we all have these patterns of change and understanding and difference. And so we can utilize the natural calendar that is the moon to understand our own emotional fluctuations and depths and changes. So this pick a card reading is going to give you a great insight into what you can expect for this month coming up and how you can highlight and utilize the changes of the moon to connecting with your own inner sense of self. This reading is going to be all about how to do that work, what in particular you're going to be connecting into this month, what your inner energies are like. With it being a new moon in Pisces in particular, what that means is that you're really going to be connecting to your own emotional fluctuations. Like I was saying, the sign of Pisces is a very creative sign. It's connected into your own understanding of your own emotional fluctuations and changes. The water signs in general are all about emotion. You have Scorpio, which is all about the depths of your own emotion. You have the sign of Cancer, which is about this very visceral understanding of your own emotional understanding. It's very surface. It's very right now, right here in the moment. And then you have Pisces, which kind of journeys in between those two. It's the movement on the ocean itself. It's the flow down the river. It's that creative force. It's that connection into dreaming and moving and fantasy. And so this particular moon cycle is going to give you a really great opportunity to see yourself fully, where you've been, where you've come from, allow you to let go of certain things that you're ready to let go of, and move into the future from a nice, clearer understanding of yourself. So in a moment, I'm going to show you all 4 piles. Choose the pile that really jumps out at you. You might need to take a few deep breaths. You might need to take a moment to really pause. You can pause the video itself and just look at the cards. And then as soon as you get a good idea of which one to choose, down in the description section of this video, I will have a link to your reading. So now, without further ado, I'm going to show you the cards, and then I will see you in your reading. Catch you later. Pile number 1. Pile number 2. Pile number 3. Pile number 4. Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your moon cycle reading. So this is your reading for this Pisces new moon and the moon cycle coming from it. So we have the pile here with this beautiful labradorite stone, which glistens in the light in a really out of this world kind of a way. So let's take a look. We've got a bunch of cards for you today. So we'll start out with these 2 from the Wild Unknown Tarot. We have the Emperor and we have the Moon. So right away, I'm blown away by this sort of sun-moon dichotomy, 1 tree, 2 trees, daylight, nighttime. There's this sort of flowing energy coming this month that I'm feeling for you. So this Pisces season, which makes sense, it's Pisces. Pisces is all about being in this flow, right? It's the water sign, and it's the water sign with the 2 fish. So it's very much free-flowing water, whereas Cancer feels to me sometimes to be very welling up of emotions. Scorpio is diving into the deep. Pisces is sort of swimming through energies. So with this 1-2 energy, I'm kind of feeling that, right? We've got this sort of night and day aspect. So this month, you know, your nights are, your days are going to be one way and your nights are going to be the other way, right? I kind of get that feeling like, you know, like we have a night owl energy, but we also have beautiful sunlight, daylight. So I feel that just as an aside from these two cards. But to dive into their meanings, with the Emperor here, you know, this is gonna this month that's opening up for you. So the new moons are all about building. The new moon is a great time to kind of open yourself up to what you want to bring into the month. If you're someone who practices forms of manifestation, a lot of times and a truck just drove by with 777, so the 777 means something to you. Very spiritual number. What was I saying? Oh, so if you practice manifestation with the moon or moon magic in general, the new moon is always a period of new beginnings. It's like opening into the cycle, setting down what you'd like to have occur for the month, you know, working at the open section, whereas the full moon tends to be sort of this energy of endings, where you'd like to finish things. What needs to be released, what's ready to leave in your life, right? So and then you have the rest of the moon cycle to come down from it too. The full moon can also be a culmination. It's like where you're at the peak of the energy that you've started to build from the new moon. You reach peak at the full moon, and then you have a waning period after that. So, you know, with this being the moon cycle and having the moon card too, I didn't even put that together, but that's pretty powerful. Right? And what is this? This is a waning or waxing crescent. It's a crescent, but I'm trying to think about which direction it's in. I think that this is a where does the moon go? I can't remember. I think this is the waning crescent. I feel that. So for you in particular, like whatever moon cycle you're building here, the waning crescent period is going to be big for you. So not only are you building, having the culmination, but as things cool down and wane, that will be a significant date, I think, for you guys. So just keep that in mind. You can Google when the waning crescent is. It'll be somewhere. You know, the moon cycle is a month-long cycle, so you know, it'll be somewhere kind of by the end of that month-long period. So just look it up. You can look it up online. But you know, we also, for you in particular, what this moon is bringing you is this opportunity to build something, right? With the Emperor here, he's like really that sort of planning energy, strategizing, you know, coming up with your plan. So if you're trying to make something happen, this is a great month to build your strategy. This is a great month to, you know, maybe test things out. You know, with the new moon here, which is Saturday the 13th, I think, for most people, then, you know, you can use the new moon to sort of try out your strategy. You can plan what your strategy is going to be on the new moon, and then use that month to see, okay, what works, what doesn't work. Is this going to work for me? Is it going to not? Who knows, you know? And then with the moon here too, what's interesting though is it's a balance of these energies, which is what I was feeling. So not only do you have the planning and strategy here at the one end, but on the other end, you know, you have the very intuitive understanding, going with the flow with the moon, you know, following your intuition, following your nudges, being spontaneous. So this month is going to be a good period for you to work on the balance between these two aspects. So let's look at, we've got one card from the 1JJ Swiss deck, and it is the Five of Pentacles. So with the Five of Pentacles here, you know, that's really kind of, it's showing me, so the Five of Pentacles is sort of the dark night of the soul card. So it can talk about going through a period that's really difficult. And I don't necessarily think that's what's upcoming for this month for you, but I think that this month might be a good period of reflection, right? To kind of see what you've been through. What's interesting about the Five of Pentacles is that it's also sort of this, like, it implies a sort of spiritual transcendence with it, right? It's like you have to go through this really dark and period of your life. You don't have to, but many people do. And you kind of, you hit this sort of, not necessarily rock bottom, but you know what I mean? Like you hit a really difficult, dire part within yourself. And then it's sort of like you kind of have this come to whatever moment, where you're like, okay, well, here I am. And now I got to figure things out, like I have to figure things out on a larger cosmic spiritual level, because everything I have is gone, hasn't worked out. So I got to see more cards to kind of get a better understanding of what that's talking about. But I was getting the sense intuitively that it's sort of like this, you're going to be given sort of a reflection of that moment, if you've been through that before. You're just kind of seeing maybe how far you've come. Let's see the rest of the cards here. King of Wands. Okay. Yeah. Seven of Wands. The World. I tend not to read reversals, by the way. It's just sort of, especially for general readings, I feel like the energies are easier just as they are. The Magician, so powerful. And there it is again. Wow. So to have a card come up twice in a reading, you have the Five of Pentacles twice, that really indicates that it's the most important message from this entire reading. So there's something about that dark night of the soul period that this month is really kind of bringing up, with it being Pisces season. And I know this is something that, I've been working on within myself. There's a really wonderful astrologer who did a reading on Pisces season that I talked a lot about in my last, not the yes or no reading, but the reading before. The reading before that, I talk a lot about what to expect in Pisces season. So feel free to watch that Celestial Messages video, because I go really deep into the Pisces season in general. But this is the new moon of Pisces season. So it's sort of like this moon cycle is kind of piggybacking off of the Pisces energy, and sort of like it's a big highlight from this. And so because of that, I really do feel like you're having this moment of reflection on some of the really difficult things that have occurred in your life, but you're not in those things anymore. You're not in those difficult moments. And so sometimes it's hard, memory has a funny way of kind of putting us fully in another time sometimes. I don't know if this ever happens to you, but this happens to me all the time, where I start thinking about something that happened, and then, my entire mindset shifts to what my mindset was when those difficult things happened. But you don't need to do that, right? Like, well, I mean, it's okay if you do it every now and then. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but like, that doesn't negate the fact that you are still building, like you've already left that energy, right? Like you are the magician always. You can make your life however you want it to be. And, you can change your thoughts. You can change your headspace to be a much more nicer environment towards yourself, right? But sometimes thinking about the difficult things that have happened, we start to think like, oh, that's all I'm ever going to have. That's all I'm ever going to be, So I feel like this reading is coming in to let you know, like, and this particular month that's coming up, this resonation will really happen for you, of like this idea that, you are not the lowest common denominator of your past, like you are not the worst thing that's ever happened to you. Right? Does that make sense? Like it's so easy for us to get stuck thinking about terrible things that have happened in our lives and suffering that we've undergone. But ultimately, like, just because something has occurred in our life, that doesn't mean that that event has to define us for the rest of our lives. Ultimately, this particular moment right here, right now, and I'm getting a horn outside for confirmation, so this particular moment right here, right now is the only moment that exists. And you have the power to make this present moment whatever you want it to be. You have that power always and forever. And so, I just feel really compelled to say that, with this double Five of Pentacles, it can be really easy to get lost in the past. But I feel like this Pisces new moon is going to give you the opportunity to sort of transcend that a little bit, to sort of see it, to see the whole picture and not just the worst events, right? Because the past is full of, yes, both challenging events, but also triumphs. You have deep, wonderful triumphs from your past that are there, and those triumphs are worth celebrating, and are important to celebrate and to acknowledge, as much as the difficult things that have happened. And so I do feel that you're going to have that opportunity to sort through that, which is what that Five of Pentacles energy really is. It's the transcendence of those difficult periods by tapping into source, by tapping into spirituality, by tapping into your higher self, or your ability to see you in all of your own glory, the hard fought battles, which is the Seven of Wands here. The Seven of Wands is all about finally triumphing over the struggle, right? The Five of Wands and the Seven of Wands are both very similar cards. They depict kind of the same moment, but in slightly different ways. So the Five of Wands is like five people all fighting, and they're at a stalemate, and none of them are winning. So it's like this very stuck energy because everyone is fighting and nobody's winning. But with the Seven of Wands, it's finally triumphing over that. It's like, no, I've made it out of that. That stuck fight energy is finally over, and I have transcended that now. Finally, I'm victorious over that. And that's really coming into that's really being highlighted here with the World card, which is sort of like this graduation to the next phase, graduating to the next chapter of your life. So this new moon is really going to be this opportunity to kind of graduate into this new level, bringing yourself into a new awareness of your own world and your own life and all of that. And then you have the King of Wands here, which is sort of this energy of being fully in your own power. I feel like this moon cycle is going to bring you closer to your own knowing, to your own power, to your own inspirations and drives. And you'll be like really finally in the mode to, experience yourself fully, right? To experience all aspects of yourself in a way that's, you really self-loving and like really proud of yourself for being all that you are, in spite of and because of these difficult things that have happened to you, right? Those challenging moments are actually your triumphs because you got out of it. You made it to the other end of it. You've moved past it. So it's like you have to celebrate those periods of your life and not let them bring you down, because you moved through that energy, and you made it to the other side, which is absolutely incredible. So that's your tarot cards. We're going to do the Oracle cards now. I got a bunch of them from a bunch of different decks. So first up, you got two from the Healing with the Angels Oracle deck. And I don't know if I'll read from the cards or not, or if I'll just channel. We'll see. We have support and we have self-acceptance. So that's self-acceptance, right? That ties right into what I was saying. I was getting just channeling from the King of Wands, this idea of you tapping into your own self-love. And self-acceptance is so important, right? Like, This new moon is going to bring you the opportunity to accept all aspects of yourself, even the challenging parts of yourself. This is work I've been doing with myself lately, of just seeing the things that, you know, shadow work, if you will. You can look up shadow work. It's really important work. But it's basically, you know, it's the Jungian idea. Carl Jung was a psychologist, was sort of a mystical psychologist. Yeah, he's pretty cool. But you know, he had this idea of the shadow, which is like the aspects of our psyche that we don't want to look at, that we push aside. And just because we push them aside and we don't want to look at them doesn't mean that they're inherently bad. It doesn't mean that they're evil or anything. It's just like based on our own lens that we grew up with, based on society and culture and parenting and all of that. You know, we have a certain lens in life, and the shadow is just the aspects that lens taught us not to like within ourselves. This self-acceptance is coming in to say, like, hey, even if there are parts of yourself that you find challenging, that you're not so proud of, you're not so happy about, like, those parts of yourself are worthy of love and worthy of your own acceptance and understanding, you know, because when you see those aspects fully and you shine love and light on them anyway, what happens, and I don't mean to just be all love and light, like I'm not totally like that, but you know what I mean, you know, shining your own self-compassion on yourself, it really helps so much. It really does, because what you're telling yourself is like, hey, like, even though there are aspects that I'm not always proud of, I still love myself. I'm still proud of myself. I'm still, you know, I'm not just defined by those things, and I'm not going to let those things take me over, you know, because if you don't acknowledge them or you try to repress them, then they just come out in ways that aren't helpful, and that are actually really harmful. So that self-acceptance work, I think, is going to be really big for you this moon cycle. And then you have support here. So the support card comes in to let you know, like, I don't know how spiritual of a person you are and what your beliefs are. That doesn't really matter. You can have whatever beliefs that you want. But whether you believe in spirit guides, or you believe in angels, or you believe in just the universe itself conspiring to help you, you know, whatever you want to believe in. Personally, I think we all have a spirit team. We all have a guides on the other side who are, you know, there to help us. This is just really coming in to let you know, like, hey, there's this energy here that's there for you. And with that double 5 of Pentacles, right? It's like a lot of times the dark night of the soul is our launch point towards understanding spirituality in a way that we never had. So this is really kind of coming in to say, like, hey, you've got help. Tune into that help. It's there. It's ready for you. And you can ask for help, you know, even if you feel alone, even if you feel like there aren't anybody physically that you can talk to, you still have the universe you can talk to, and the universe will listen. You'd be surprised. You just ask for a sign and you'll find one. They come. It's pretty amazing. So next up we have this oracle card from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and we have the omens. So more signs. Definitely watch for signs. That's so funny. That's exactly what I said, right? Watch for a sign, ask for a sign, and it will come. Here's your sign. We asked, it came. Omens. That's so funny. I love that. There was a horn outside too. That's one of my symbols for you know, if I'm talking to my spirit team or something, and I want signs of confirmation for if I'm on the right track for something. For me, I've kind of worked out that when I get horns like that, especially during a reading, like if a car outside honks its horn, that's a sign, like, okay, there you go, that's confirmation. So anyway, this omens card too is sort of like, it's got this hawk energy here. So it's really, the hawk and eagle imagery in symbolism tends to be this idea of taking a higher perspective, right? We can get so lost in our day-to-day lives and our day-to-day experience that we get really pinpointed. And it's like we get one little tiny itty-bitty pinpoint of a problem or a situation or a thought process that just takes and consumes our entire mind's eye. The eagle and the hawk image is really, it says to take a different perspective on it, to imagine your mind as the eagle flying up into the sky. And so that huge problem that's taken up your entire mind space becomes a little teeny tiny pinprick as you're way above it and seeing the whole big giant picture. So taking some large perspective shifts and just like seeing the bigger picture this month is going to be really helpful as you move through this new moon in Pisces and moon cycle coming up here in March and April. Final card here comes from How to Be a Wildflower deck by Katie Daisy, who lives in Bend, Oregon. I bought this deck recently, and it's very beautiful images. But it's like this house here, and it kind of looks like an abandoned house, but it's like not. I'm getting home imagery. What's cool about this deck is it's like you've got a symbol on one end and a quote on the other. So we'll read the quote in a second. But with this house, I'm getting this feeling. I mean, it almost looks like a haunted house, right? But it's so happy and beautiful. It's like life is growing through it. So it's like the things that once haunted you, right? It's like you abandoned this house. It was haunted, but that haunted house is actually now growing into a beautiful nature preserve, a nature oasis. So it's like, you know, as you reflect on the things that happened in your past, you know, those memories maybe once felt like a haunted house, you know, scary, bad memories. But this new perspective has been silently growing this whole time in you. And now this new moon cycle is going to, and this Pisces season in particular, is going to give you the opportunity to look back on things and actually see like all of these flowers growing in what used to be a scary memory. You know, it's become this like actually this beautiful nature preserve to say like, oh wow, well actually, you know, let me think about the bigger picture with that hawk imagery of this situation and say like, actually, like I was so strong to work through all of that, and like I'm so kick-ass for being an amazing person to be able to not only survive that, but to thrive afterward and to grow so much as I have. And like, oh, all of these things that I had to learn. And this is for me, what I've learned from my own reflections like this. It's like, oh, I had to go through a challenging situation like this because I had to learn this lesson. And I know myself, first of all, I know I have to learn the hard way sometimes. That's just how life is. But like, you know, I think back to, I was in a really bad relationship that ended really poorly and left me feeling heartbroken for years. And I finally have gotten to the point where I've realized like, hey, my perspective on relationships and love and all of this kind of stuff was coming from this lens that was filled with codependency and all this stuff that was just like really toxic. And I had to go through a bad relationship to like open my eyes to look at it all. And to just like see the whole thing, be like, oh, okay, I can now get a better picture on how flawed my perspective was. And I now see there was no way for me to change that perspective except to go through a challenging situation, as crummy as that is. And now I'm actually thankful for that situation to have occurred because I learned so much from it. And so it's like, that's the kind of transformational shift I see for you, of thinking back to these memories and being like, oh, actually, look at all that I've learned from this. So anyway, pile number 1, that was my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. This seems like it's going to be a really contemplative month for you. So use it, thrive from it. Let me know in the comments what you think of this reading. I really do love hearing everybody's opinions and thoughts. It's really nice to hear from you. If you'd like a private reading from me, I do have them available on my website. You can check that out at junodrome.com. And there's a new Instagram for the page. You can follow that along on Instagram at Junodrome Tarot. Anyway, friends, I will see you later. Bye. Hey, pile number 2, welcome to your reading. You chose the pile with this amethyst stone. It's really, really lovely, raw amethyst. Such a great energy. So this is your reading for what is coming up this moon cycle. So we have a new moon on Saturday, the 13th, I believe, of March, at least where I am. I'm in the on the west coast of the United States, so that's my time zone. Look up the time zone for you. When I post this, it's going to be just right before it. I'm hoping to have this posted by Friday. So when you get this, it could be after the full moon. That doesn't mean that this reading isn't for you, because we're doing a reading for the whole moon cycle. So it's this entire month. This new moon is just the very beginning, and then it moves through the entire moon cycle, culminating in the full moon, kind of at its widest point, and then it begins to wane again for the rest of the month. So this will go until sometime in April. I didn't look up when the next new moon is. So this reading is going to be your whole month, like what to expect this month, what's coming up. The new moons tend to be great times for if you'd like to use the moon cycle for your own manifestation, your own personal development, your own spiritual growth. The new moon is a great opportunity to put into the ether, put into the universe, the things you'd like to create for the month. And then they tend to culminate and come to a crescendo in the full moon period, wherein then the full moon tends to be really great opportunities to release things. On a full moon, at least for me, I know this, I feel like I start to have emotions and energies and thoughts come up of things that are ready within me to be released. So you have this kind of opportunity to use the moon in order to do that. So we're going to be looking ahead for the entire month coming up, what you can expect for this moon cycle. So we're going to start out now with 3 cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot. It's a great deck. And I don't read reversals. I just read things right side up for group readings. I think I like the energy to just be clear and concise of what the card means, and that tends to be okay for me. We've got the 6 of Wands. Interesting. We've got the 2 of Pentacles, and we've got the 8 of Pentacles. Okay, so this is really beautiful energy, pile number 2, and you've got the 2 in the middle here, so that's kind of fun. 6 to 8, even numbers. I don't know. If numerology people, that might mean something to you. The 6 of Wands is the victory card. So this card tends to come out when it's time to really celebrate something, celebrate your own achievement. You being victorious over something in your life. So this month is actually going to be a really wonderful time for you to celebrate sort of everything you've been through and what you've built. Because this 8 of Pentacles energy, is really making me think about building. Like, what are you putting the work into? What have you put in the work towards, right? With it having the spider, right? The spider is about a lot of things, weaving the web of life itself. The web tends to be that representation of the universe itself, right? But also, I get this energy of like, if you build it, they will come, right? What is that? The Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right? But seriously though, that idea of like, the spider builds the web to catch the flies. The spider's only going to catch the flies if it builds the web. And I think that you've been spending a lot of time building a web, and maybe it's been a little bit frustrating. It's been a little bit slow. Maybe it's been taking you a while to get to this point, but you're at a phase within, and it might take longer too, it might take more time, right? I don't necessarily see like this is going to be the culmination moment of everything for you. I don't know if we ever really have those, right? I'm sure we do, but you know, you know what I mean? It's like there's always something to work on, you know, especially for some people, like if you're a perfectionist or something like that. I know I certainly am. You know, there's that energy of like, well, you know, you achieve something and then it's like right on to the next thing, right? I do that all the time. So this is sort of like asking you to take a second to be like, hey, look, you've been putting in a lot of work into this, and whether or not you're at the level you wish you were at, you know, in your own culmination thing, this is an excellent time to celebrate who you are and where you are and what's going on. And this month might be a really good opportunity to do a little bit of reflection and say like, hey, I have come a long way. Hey, I have built a lot for myself. Hey, I have transcended so much. And you know what? Like, I'm so proud of myself for doing that. And, you know, we have the Two of Pentacles here, which has a butterfly on it in this deck. And butterflies are the symbol of transformation. So you've definitely been through this transformative period. I feel that. But the Two of Pentacles is all about balance and bringing your life into balance, bringing aspects of your life into balance. Really balancing out every aspect of your life. So I feel like this month is going to give you a really good opportunity to put yourself into balance if you felt out of balance in any aspect, you know, maybe building solid routines. You know, I use the moon cycle to help me keep myself on track, you know, keep my projects on track, keep myself just moving forward. So potentially, with the balance card coming in here, it might say like, hey, maybe really pay attention to the moon cycle, and just really see how much it can help you, you know, moving forward, you know, as you put into this work, you know. Utilizing the cycles of the moon can actually really help in that work that you've been already doing. So let's check next. We have a bunch of cards. We have 3 cards from the 1JJ Swiss deck. Excuse me. So we've got the 8 of Wands, we've got the Judgment, and we've got the 2 of Pentacles. Wow, pile number 2. This is my 2 pile. This is great. And this is a 20, so you've got another kind of 2 going on. Whenever a card comes up twice in a reading, that really signifies that it's the most important message. And this is interesting because pile number 1 had 2 of the same card come up as well, which is kind of cool. Your reading is nothing like pile number 1, so I don't think that you would really resonate. You might resonate with it, I don't know. But this feels like such a different energy, so I don't necessarily think you should check it out if you don't feel drawn to it. But it's just, I think it's funny that a double message was in both of them. But you know, this month is really, really, really going to be about balance. And actually, you know what? I think pile number 1 had Judgment as well, so maybe it would actually resonate with you somewhat. But I feel like you are in this period of reflection, like I was talking about. This is a really great opportunity to reflect on how far you've actually come in life, and how far you've moved. Because, you know, the Judgment card is all about, it's kind of like when you come to a culmination of aspects of your life and then you move on to the next phase. And it's like, as you move through that, it's all about this idea that like, you get to reflect on where you've come from. And then in that reflection, you have a transcendent growth. So it's like, you realize like, oh, okay, I see that I went through X, Y, and Z, and that, you know, for such a long time, I was viewing it in such a negative light because it was such a dark and difficult period for me. But you know what? Now, in hindsight, I actually see that I had to go through certain challenging situations because they've led me to where I am now, and where I am now is propelling me forward. But also, like, I had to learn certain lessons in my life, and honestly, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with myself, those lessons could only come in this challenging and uncertain way. You know, this difficult way was the only way for me to really get the lesson, and it is doing that. it's transforming that experience into wisdom. So it's like really looking at like, okay. Yes, I went through this difficult thing, but hey, look at what it gave me. Look at how I've grown. It's important to really to take the time to have that kind of perspective. And then we have the Eight of Wands, which is this idea of fast moving energy. So this reflective period and moving into your own balance and rhythm, it's going to go really fast. You're going to have this like really swift movement coming in this month. That's going to be really beneficial. Like you can jump on that train, right? It's like I'm getting the image in my mind of like, what's that? Have you seen Finding Nemo? Is it like the North Atlantic Current or something? You know, where they're in Australia, but then they just like jump in a super highway under the ocean. I don't know why that's popping in my head, but it really is. Like I feel it's like that energy. It's like you can get on board with this fast movement energy and propel yourself forward. Be open to propelling into the future, into this next phase. With that judgment can talk about being at the end of a phase and being just about ready to move on to the next one. So your final 3 tarot cards before we get into the oracle cards come from the Universal Waite Deck. And let me just make sure I'm going to be in frame here. Yeah, I'll be in frame. Cool. I never know with this. Judgment again. Holy moly, pile number 2. The Hermit. And the Knight of Wands. Okay, so you got a double message. I don't know if that's ever happened to me in a reading. That's crazy. So yeah, you got 2 really important messages. The Judgment is really where you are. That huge reflection period, like that's what this month is. This is your, and I'm not saying that you should necessarily like relive everything that's happened in your past, because sometimes like when we're stuck in the past, and we're reliving these memories, we can just be really hard on ourselves, just kind of rehashing these things that have happened over and over and over again. I don't feel that for you. I don't think that's something that's even necessarily healthy for you to be doing. But the Judgment is coming in to say like it's a new perspective on certain situations that have occurred to you is what you should be focused on for this moon cycle, right? So it's like, it's not that you're putting yourself back in the place where you were and remembering how hard it was. Instead, it's being fully aware of where you are in the present and allowing the presentness of you to say like, oh, I can totally let go of these things now because I'm in something completely different, So you know that kind of, can you tell the difference in that? It's like, instead of you being stuck in the past anymore, this is actually what's going to be freeing you from the past, is realizing how far you've come and how much growth that you've had, and then allowing that to propel you forward. And with the Hermit too, I do feel like this moon cycle is bringing you the opportunity to have a deep period of self-reflection with that Hermit, and maybe like, don't be afraid of going off alone for a little bit, and that doesn't mean to totally self-isolate, but give yourself the opportunity to be on your own in certain moments and really allow yourself to do this reflection, to do this kind of healing work, because that's what's going to bring you back into balance if you feel unbalanced. I feel like some people watching, this is a general reading, so it's different for everybody, but I feel like for some people, maybe there is a feeling of being a little bit off, or being a little bit out of balance, and maybe you didn't really know where that is coming from. And so it's like, maybe you've been working really, really hard to make something happen, and you haven't necessarily seen the fruition of it yet. And maybe that's, triggering you a little bit, making you feel a little bit challenged, making you feel a little bit, like, oh, if it hasn't come yet, is it ever going to come? And then you start doubting yourself, maybe you've been feeling that a little bit. And so this moon cycle is like, okay, well, look, Like, keep up the work. You're putting in the work on this thing. Keep working hard at it. Continue to do that. Like I said, you're gonna have fruition. It might not be coming right away, but that doesn't mean it's not coming. It's just like you have to keep putting in this work in order to keep building. So you're really building something. I feel that energy. But that doesn't mean you can't celebrate how far you've come, right? And so take this month as an opportunity to do some periods of reflection and really see, like, hey, you know, as much as I know I have to keep going, and as much as I have this goal in mind and I know I'm not there yet, like, you know what? I know for a fact that I am capable of achieving my dreams, and I see how far this journey has already brought me, and I am so thankful to be working on it. I'm so thankful that it's happening, that there is energy here. I'm so happy that I'm happy for all of the hard choices I had to make in the past that I made. I'm happy for all of the difficult leaps that I had to make in the past that led me down a road towards self-discovery, that led me down the journey closer to the path that I want to get to, right? I'm thankful that I made all those difficult leaps. And yeah, maybe I have more leaps ahead of me. We always have to do jumps, honestly. And, I don't know if they ever get really easier. Maybe they do. They haven't for me yet, but I keep jumping, and I never regret it. I don't regret any of the major jumps in my life that I've had to make. And so let this month be a little bit of a calm, even if you, still keep working, and where you're working, but maybe don't force anything. We're really striking this deep balance here with this balancing energy. So make sure you're not working yourself to the bone. Make sure that you are, getting enough sleep. Make sure that you're getting enough rest. Make sure that you are taking care of your mental health, your physical health. Make sure you're eating right, getting the exercise you need, all of it, Make sure you're really taking care of your physical body, your mental body, your spiritual body. Are you treating yourself nicely? Are you talking to yourself kindly? All these things are really important. So make this month about that. Make this month about, okay, maybe you've been stuck in your head or stuck in the past, that's kind of feels like what I'm talking about. So if that's the case, maybe you really take this month to allow yourself to say, okay, well, what has been triggering me to do this? Where is that trigger coming from? What is pushing my buttons in a way that's not healthy? Why am I forcing something? Why do I feel like I'm forcing something? Any of those things. Really take this moon cycle as an opportunity to come back to yourself. I feel that. I feel like maybe that's what this manifestation for you would be. I'm not going to tell you totally what you should be manifesting in your life, but maybe the mantra for you this moon cycle is something like, I accept myself fully for who I am, and I take care of all parts of myself, mind, body, and soul. Something like that. Let that be your intention that you set with the new moon, and watch how that grows. Watch how the universe helps you come back into a sense of balance, of full balance and comfort. I just feel the sense of grounding here too. Maybe you've really been stuck in your head, and it's like, okay, well, now it's time to come back into your body, come back into your being, come back into yourself, and really allow yourself to do that, And the final card here that I didn't talk about yet is the Knight of Wands. And so the knights, to me, I always interpret them as like, what is the energy and that's moving through the reading? It talks about the movement of the reading. Where are you moving? What, as you're moving through this transformation, what is the energy movement? And it's happening in the wand suit. So the wands are all about your passions and your drives, your fire, what lights you up, your creativity. And so, it really is reflecting with that Eight of Pentacles here is like what you're working on, is probably towards your creative venture, or, whatever project you're working on. It could be a business too, with it's going to be something though that's like really self-fulfilling, with the wands. So let this be an opportunity for you to fall back in love with the passion that started you on this journey, right? Let this moon cycle be an opportunity for you to come back into contact with your inspirations and your drives and what has been passionately leading you forward in the first place. Come really back into your sense of inspiration, and that might take slowing down and reflecting. And with reflection too, and the Judgment coming up a lot, and the Hermit, I'm feeling a sense of meditation. Do you have a meditation practice? Maybe it's time to start one. It doesn't have to be anything more challenging and difficult than it has to be. A lot of times, we can keep ourselves from meditating, or, maybe you even have started meditating before and you've stopped, and it's hard to get back into the cycle. I know I've gone in and out of those meditation cycles myself, but I do notice when I do a silent meditation every day, it really changes a lot, and even if other parts of the day I'm feeling anxious and I'm feeling stuck in my head, just having a meditation practice at the end of my day just really sets everything nicely. And then I'm in a sense of calm and peace. And for me, what I do for meditation is I just do a silent 10-minute meditation, and I allow myself to just kind of go wherever my thoughts need to. The point of meditation is to try to silence your mind sometimes, but it's not really about like trying to shut yourself up. Like we all have thoughts, and the thoughts are going to happen. It's more about recognizing the thoughts as they move through. So, when a thought pops up, you just say, oh, look, I'm thinking. And then you just try to go back into silence. And it's all about the recognition of the thoughts. And it's training yourself to kind of give yourself a level of separation between you and your thoughts, because you are not your thoughts, right? This is what mindfulness practice is all about. Your thoughts as they move through your head, it's so easy to identify with them, but at the end of the day, they're just thoughts, right? You are actually the larger awareness that is perceiving those thoughts. And so, if you have challenging thoughts come up, if you get stuck on thinking about the past, or thinking about challenging things that have happened to you, practicing mindfulness. And of course, I feel like sometimes I feel like a hypocrite doing these readings, because a lot of times these messages are for me as much as they're for you. So, this is a practice. It's a lifelong practice. It doesn't happen overnight. It's you continue to build it. So don't be hard on yourself if you don't get there right away. I'm still not there fully. But it's all about learning how to recognize when these challenging thoughts occur, and disidentifying with them. So, oh, okay, I see the thought. That's not who I am. I'm not this negative thought. I don't need to get stuck in the past anymore. And then you can give yourself, really good things. Okay, I see, with this judgment reflection. Okay, I'm thinking about the past again. I'm thinking about all the things that didn't work out. But you know what? Let me now think about all the things that did work from that situation or that time. Let me think about what lesson I learned from that, what good came of it, and sometimes no good comes of anything, but sometimes that in itself is a lesson, and that's a good thing. Does that make sense? Okay, I see that, I didn't quite I see that I got really stuck in this thing, and that was really bad. But you know what? I walked away from it, and that was actually a lesson that taught me how to walk away from something. And now I have stronger boundaries, and I won't necessarily walk into that thing again, right? So it's like learning how to be like that kind, nurturing voice for yourself, and catching yourself when you're not that. Because a lot of times we aren't, and that's okay too, Just like being really patient with yourself, and allowing yourself to have these challenging moments, because we all have challenging moments. And then just being your silent, calm support for yourself while you go through it. That's a self-love practice that's so helpful. So helpful. So anyway, those are your tarot cards. We're going to dive into the oracle cards now. I'm going to save this one for last, and we'll start with, this is from the Healing with the Angels Oracle deck. You don't necessarily have to believe in angels, identify with angels. I do. I think they're really helpful personally. They're just like really friendly, loving, nurturing energy. So tune into it if you want, but don't if you don't need to. Children. So that's interesting. I think with the children card, I'm getting the feeling of like really connecting into your inner child here, you know, as you do this reflection work. Maybe you have deep set wounds, you know. I think that it's very difficult in the world that we live in, that's so challenging and forced in a lot of ways. It feels forced. Our culture feels forced to me. It always has. There's something off about things here sometimes that just feels hard, you know. And so I think because of that, it's difficult for any one of us to get through childhood without some kind of wound. You know, even if we have the most loving and supporting families, like it's hard to move through this world without challenging situations, and childhood in particular. I just think, you know, there's always something. So I think that, you know, some of the difficulty you're in might be getting caught in a loop that goes deep back into childhood even. And so this connecting into your inner child, you know, maybe this moon cycle and this deep set inner reflection work that I feel is so calling to you for this month. Maybe a part of that is connecting into your inner child and seeing some of the beauty and childlike wonder that's still a part of you. And maybe that will help you jumpstart this inner creativity, because a lot of times, you know, our creative spark was present in childhood. And so by connecting into your inner child, you'll start to think about, oh, I remember I dreamed about all of these wonderful things for myself when I was a kid, and now I have the opportunity to pursue those things. And that's really beautiful, you know. Next up, we have a card from the Shamanic Healing Oracle. One of my favorite decks, and we have Ancient Wisdom, so that's cool too. So as much as you're going to tap into your own inner child and your own inner wisdom, I feel like there's an opportunity for you to connect in with the ancient wisdom of the universe itself, and that universal energy, which is connecting in with the spider web energy. I was talking a little bit about the universal web of life. Maybe that's an important symbol for you this month. This, like, the interconnectedness of all beings and all things, right? That we're all woven from this web of, you know, the one mind of everything. You don't necessarily have to perceive the universe that way, but I tend to. I feel like there's this whole universe is this interwoven connection of life, you know? It's like one mind of the universe is spun off into this interconnected web that we are all a part of. So I feel like there's a little bit of that coming in for you this moon cycle, of like, by tuning into the ancient wisdom of the universe itself, you'll start to see your life from a different perspective, from a larger perspective, and maybe be a little bit less hard on yourself. Let's read from the book. I want to read from the book for you. I didn't read from the book. Whoops, sorry. I didn't read from the book for the other reading, but I just feel called to, so I'm going to put all these cards away. So, one second. Okay, Ancient Wisdom. Nature is the perfect place to center yourself and ground out any excessive noise in your head. Well, there we go. That's exactly what we've been talking about. Maybe getting back into nature would be really helpful. Take some walks in the woods this month if you have the opportunity, or outdoors anywhere, you know, in any kind of nature setting, a park, a city park if you're in the middle of an urban area, the beach, the ocean, anything like that, meadows, wherever you are. In nature, all the secrets of the universe are held, from the fiercest energy of a raging sea in a storm to the nurturing and loving energy of 100-year-old grove of trees. Get out in nature and listen to what she has to tell you. There is much to learn from nature. Trees just want to be trees. They are not trying to be boulders. Ooh, that's good. Deer are just deer. They accept that. Wolves are wolves. They know no other way. They do not try to get an extreme makeover to become a bear. This energy vibration can be so different than the human experience. It is pure love, non-judgment, and acceptance. This is kind of tuning in too to that, what I was talking about our culture being really challenging, you know, with the inner child work. sometimes it just like doesn't really fit with, you know, our inner wisdom. When you tap into the ancient wisdom of the natural world, you find peace within yourselves. You get to know thyself. By drawing this card, you are being asked to come to peace with who you are and what you have to offer the situation. That's really nice. So yeah, that's that. The final card comes from this new deck I got. It's How to Be a Wildflower deck by Katie Daisy, who's this artist out of Bend, Oregon. Really beautiful, beautiful cards. But there's a symbol on one end and a quote on the other. So the symbol you have is this thunderstorm, right? So sometimes I'm just getting the feeling of thoughts, you know. I really do feel like you've been in this like inner thought kind of difficulty, especially maybe very recently as you come back into balance though. So it's like, you know, that storm though, remember, after the storm is the calm, you know, is the clear. It's like you have to go through this storm period to just be in this clear, beautiful post-storm energy. And so I just feel that, you know, from this, you know, and like lightning too is giving me creative vibes for the Knight of Wands, you know, this like bolting burst of creativity. Let's read the quote. Raise your words, not your voice. It is rain that grows flowers, not thunder. So that's interesting too, and that's by Rumi. So the quote is really kind of talking about speaking your voice, speaking your truth, use your words, raise your words, not your voice. So it's like, that's interesting. It's like this idea of feeling anger, you know, there's a lot of anger, right? So it's like not taking your anger out on, maybe not taking your anger out on yourself, you know? I feel like maybe you're angry at yourself for not being further along than where you want to be, you know? And this is really talking about like, hey, don't be so hard on yourself, because that's, you know, that's hurting you. That anger is hurting you. And it's saying like channel your feelings into your creativity, right? And channel your feelings into, like, growing flowers is a slow process. So your work, you know, as you work, remember to have patience with yourself. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not gonna, and it doesn't need to happen overnight. It's okay. It's okay to take time, and it might feel challenging sometimes, but that's the challenge. That's the challenge that you have to overcome in this situation. That life gives us challenges and gives us tests and gives us points that we have to work through that are sometimes harder than others. And, you know, that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to take time. It's okay that things are not happening immediately. Just keep working, you know, keep at it, because it's coming. It's coming. And channel your feelings into your work, you know, and utilize the energy, you know, instead of being angry at yourself for not being further along, say, okay, well, how can I, you know, and don't force yourself either, right? Remember this balance here, this balanced energy, like don't force yourself too hard, but maybe it's like, how can I use this anger to see myself more clearly, right? As we go through into the inner child and connecting in, like I was saying, maybe you have these inner wounds. How can I look at this situation like, okay, clearly I'm triggered by this. Why is this triggering me? Why do I feel like this needs to happen faster? Why am I not being more patient? Why do I feel the need for instantaneous connection to this, instantaneous results? And start really looking at yourself and in a non-judgmental way, instead of being angry at yourself and hurting yourself. Look at yourself with deep compassion and self-love and say, okay, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to really look at myself clearly and you know, accept all parts of yourself, you know, the parts that you like and the parts you don't. So maybe you should check out pile number 1 too if you wanted, because I talk about the shadow a bunch in that. So anyway, I'm gonna take things off here. I think that this moon cycle is a really beautiful opportunity for you to come back into your own sense of balance and to come back into a sense of self-love. I think you've been working really, really, really hard at something, and maybe you feel a little burnt out, or you feel a little discouraged because things aren't happening quickly. You feel maybe a little angry. There's a little bit of those energies. And so I think that this moon cycle is a really beautiful opportunity for you to kind of like clear your thoughts, clear your head, come back into yourself, come back to your center, come back, and then approach moving forward from this fresh new perspective. Go outside, go for a walk, go for a jog or a bike ride or whatever, a hike, something, whatever can help you. Take that opportunity with you and just yourself in this hermit mode and just move in nature. And that, I think, is a really good prescription for you this moon cycle. And yeah, check out that mantra. I can't remember specifically what I said, but maybe that mantra I gave you would help you. So on the new moon, tell that to yourself and set those intentions for this month for yourself. So anyway, pile number 2, that was my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Please let me know in the comments what you think either way. I really, really do love hearing from everybody. It just makes my day, every comment I get. So please comment. I love hearing from you. And like the video too. I think likes actually help it spread more, so feel free to like it. And what else? Oh, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000, so when we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be doing some giveaways and things, so that'll be pretty exciting. We're just about at 800, which is great, so thank you everybody who subscribed. Thank you everybody who's joining me, who's new. If you would like a private reading with me, I do have them available on my website. You can check that out at junodrum.com. And finally, there is a new Instagram. You can check that out at Junodrum Tarot on Instagram. Anyway, pile number 2, I'm going to leave you there. I hope that this was a helpful reading and you liked it. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day or evening, whatever the time is when you watch this. Later. Hey there, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading today. So this is your reading for what to expect with this upcoming moon cycle. So the new moon in Pisces is on March 13th, which is Saturday where I am. Check your own local moon calendar just to be sure for you, because it's a little bit different depending on your time zone. But this reading isn't just for the new moon day itself, but the entire month coming up from it. So moon cycles are a really good opportunity to look at our lives and build from it. So what normally happens is the energy begins with the new moon, and it's a wonderful opportunity to set intentions. And then those intentions will build over the culmination of the month, culminating on the full moon or climaxing on the full moon. And then the full moon is a great opportunity for releasing, coming to an understanding of the things that we're ready to let go of. And then that releasing energy continues and wanes, and the energy of your intentions continue and wane until the new moon again. So, moon cycles are our own natural calendars, and they're wonderful opportunities for checking in, seeing where we're at. So this particular reading is going to be looking at where you are for this moon cycle, what you can expect for the month ahead, and kind of what are some things that you can focus on, some places you can think about. So we're starting out, you have the pile with this beautiful tiger's eye, which is all about connecting into your own personal power. I think it connects to the solar plexus chakra, I'm pretty sure. I'm just kind of saying that intuitively, so if I'm wrong, let me know. But I think color-wise and just sort of, it's that strength like a tiger, which your solar plexus is all about that. So maybe this month has a little bit to do with you connecting into your own inner strength and being in your own power. So first up, we have 3 tarot cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot, and we have the 6 of Pentacles, the 5 of Cups, and the Two of Swords. And I don't read reversals, just to keep things clear, at least in these general readings. So I'm getting some interesting images here. You know, almost, this is interesting. So the Two of Swords talks about having choices, and I feel like this moon cycle is going to give you a really great opportunity to kind of look at, you know, it's like you're pulling between two things to focus on, right? And it's sort of like maybe this moon cycle is going to give you a really great opportunity to see sort of how maybe in your mind you shift between these two perspectives, and how it might be a great time to finally change that perspective, which is interesting because the Five of Cups is almost dual messaged in that, which is interesting. So, you know, with these two different choices, you have two different things here. The Six of Pentacles can be a generosity card sometimes. It can be about giving and receiving and the balance between those. But with this particular deck, it's depicted as fruit that have grown on this tree. So it's like, you know, it's having the opportunity to pick these fruits that have grown and are offered to you. And then the Five of Cups is this energy of it tends to be the grief and the loss card. And it can often talk about being focused on the things in life that we've lost, when in reality we still have more things left over. So in many decks it's depicted as a person who's crying over 3 cups that have spilt, but there is still 2 cups left over behind them. And it talks about this idea of shifting your perspective from the things that you've lost, even though you may have encountered deep challenges in life. And that those things may have been deeply challenging and difficult, that you don't need to continue to focus on them because in fact you have 2 cups remaining. And so with us to have this sort of, you know, the Two of Swords can be, it can talk about being at a crossroads, having to make a decision between 2 things, but it can also talk about being caught up between 2 different things or not knowing how to proceed. I'm feeling a little bit stuck. And so I feel like, you know, what you're stuck between is this shift between, at some moments feeling like, oh my gosh, yes, this is it. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I feel fully in my power and I am ready to tackle the world. I totally am in sync with everything. So you're in that sometimes. And then sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe all of these things. And I can think about this and I can think about that, you know, this person, when this person did this to me and that person did that, and oh my gosh, can you remember when this happened? You know, I feel like you're kind of caught up between that. The Five of Cups here is really talking about the past to me. It's like there are parts of the past that you're just really kind of stuck on and are replaying and repeating, but at the same time, you, in your present, you've actually been working really hard on something, and that thing is bearing fruit now, and you're at the point where you're almost ready to harvest. And so it's like I'm really getting the image of, like, you know, don't get so stuck on the past because that's done, you know, it's gone. And even if it was challenging, right, remember that, you know, we're really not defined by our past at all. As much as the past is difficult for many of us, you know, the past can be beautiful too. It's a perspective thing, right? Like if we think back on memories of where we've been, so oftentimes it's the most difficult and most challenging things that are really, you know, they really kind of etch themselves in our brains. But if you were to really try and think hard, I bet there were wonderful, beautiful times in your life that you can think about, you know? And I don't think that you should necessarily get stuck in those either, because sometimes there's that other thing where you know, you look back on the past with nostalgia and say, oh, why can't I be there anymore? You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that, like, you know, the most difficult things that have occurred have already happened, and you continuing to replay them in your mind, is not helping you because they're not here anymore. You're not there anymore. You made choices and decisions that moved you away from that place. And clearly with this Six of Pentacles in a bearing fruit kind of position, you did move away from that place. You did move on. You did move past. And so even if you feel like you're kind of getting stuck now it's all about the mind, right? It's not about physically occurring in your life anymore. Now it's the echoes, it's the mind. It's, you know, in a sense, I'm getting, this is extreme, but it's probably not for everybody, but you know, I'm feeling the idea of PTSD, you know, and the idea of like this post-traumatic stress disorder where you relive these events even though they're finished. And so, like I said, I don't know if that's as extreme for everyone, but it's certainly that idea that these haunting things are coming up. But remember, right, like the Five of Cups, it has this really beautiful added message to it, which is like, you know, there's almost a transformative aspect to it where it's like, yes, there's the grief there, yes, you've lost things, but with those two cards remaining, it's almost like those cups that have been lost have actually given you the opportunity to learn how to cherish what you have, first of all, but also to have more of a direction now moving forward, right? Those two cups, maybe before you were trying to juggle 5 cups, and because you were trying to juggle all 5 cups, you couldn't hold all of them, and that's why the 3 spilled. But now you don't have to juggle 5 cups anymore. You just have 2, and so you're streamlined. Things are a little bit easier. So like that's kind of the perspective shift that the 5 of Cups offers you, where it's like, yes, you may have dealt with difficult situations, and yes, you may have lost people, friend groups, places, name it for your situation. It could be anything here, but just because you've lost those things, it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you're a bad person, or that, you know, you're only going to experience loss from now on, or that only bad things happen to you. It doesn't mean any of that. It just simply means you went through some very difficult situations. And now, on the other side of those, you have the opportunity to say, well, you know what? It eliminated some things from my life that I now am probably a little bit better off from, in a certain sense, you know, that now I don't have to worry about these things anymore. Now I have a better understanding of where I really am and where I really need to be. So I went off on a real tangent on just the first 3 cards, so let's keep going. You know, next up we have 5 cards from the 1JJ Swiss deck. So we've got the Ace of Pentacles, we've got the 7 of Swords, we've got the 6 of Swords, wow, okay. We've got the 5 of Swords. Wow. I shuffled these cards pretty good. Like, these cards are so shuffled, I don't know. They haven't been in order in a long time. So for the 3 of them to come out like that, that's pretty shocking to me. Okay, and your final card is the King of Swords. So many swords energy with the 2 of Swords there. Yeah, you are really stuck in your head. Which I feel for you. Oftentimes, you know, these readings, they're all for me. They're all always for me. as much as they're for you. And that's how, I think that's how they resonate, you know, because they're on these larger level, but I can just really, it's just like, these readings are just an excuse for spirit to talk directly to me sometimes, you know? And I've certainly been stuck in my head lately. But I just think it's really interesting and fascinating to have the 5, 6, and 7 here of Swords, which I'm going to put in order. So 5, 6, 7, that's interesting. So I don't know if you subscribe to angel numbers at all. I tend to sometimes, you know, there's different numbers that have different meanings, you know, like 111, 222, 777. For me, I've worked out this thing with my spirit guides and stuff that when I get the 123 or 1234, that's talking about steps happening in order. So it's like, if I'm getting 123, like that means, oh, okay, look at that. I'm on the right path, right? But if I get something like 124, it's like, to me, what 124 would mean, or like 1235 would be like, okay, I'm on the right path. I've been working hard on something, but I have a little bit of a, there's a little bit of a snag. I'm rushing something with like trying to skip 4 to get to 5, right? But then when I have something like 3, 4, 5 show up, to me that's like, oh, okay, I've been working on something for a while and now I'm moving on to the next step. So for you to have 5, 6, 7 in a row like that, to me, with that, you know, fruit bearing card kind of coming on here too, it's like, you're actually not at the beginning of your journey here in whatever you've been working on, you know, like you're not. I don't see you as a beginner here, although you do have a new beginning coming in here. So, you know, in a certain sense you are. We're always in a new beginning. We're always in new opportunities, but you've been working really, really, really hard on something. And I got a horn out there for confirmation. Whenever I hear a horn outside, that's like confirmation. So you have been working very, very, very hard on trying to make something happen. You've done steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 already, to the point where now you're at 5, 6, 7. Right? You don't have an 8 here, but that's great. You're at 5, 6, 7 already. So give yourself some credit, right? I get that feeling that maybe you're the kind of person who's kind of a perfectionist, kind of really hard on themselves. Once again, I'm talking to myself too here, so I'm very much that kind of person. But like, I really feel like, you know, maybe you feel like you haven't done anything yet, or you feel like, oh, how can I still not be at the beginning? And like, yeah, you might be at the beginning in some areas. You know, like I said, we're always at a new beginning. But like, you have to give yourself credit for how far you've come. You have to give yourself credit for how much you've already been working on everything that you've been working on, you know, in such a an intense way. And, you know, so what do we have with the 5, 6, and 7 of swords? You know, some of this is about moving on from things, walking away from certain aspects of things that aren't working anymore. To have the 5 and the 7 show up, you know, that, remember I was talking about, maybe I mentioned like something not working out in your life and you having to move on from certain situations and certain people. You know, actually that really resonates with all 3 of these cards here together, because the 6 is about moving away from difficult situations to try to find something better. And, you know, the 5 of swords is all about this like trickster energy of people who maybe aren't that great around you. And the 7 of swords are kind of about that too, about somebody who's fought dirty and cheated and, you know, cheated their way into winning, you know? So it's like, I think that you've had to make some difficult decisions in the past, in the recent past, and something about totally and completely walking away from people, places, situations that weren't serving you, something like that. And I think you had to make that sort of tough choice to do that. And, you know, especially with the King of Swords here too, sometimes the King of Swords can be all about cutting things out of your life that just don't serve you anymore. And so, you know, I think that you did it based on intuition and intuitive nudges, and I think it was the right move to do. I think it was absolutely the best thing for you. Like, you knew that you had to make these choices and you did it, but I feel like a part of you is still feeling really kind of upset about that. Maybe you haven't fully emotionally processed the fact that, you know, walking away from these people or this person or this place or this situation actually deeply emotionally affected you in a way that hurts, you know, grief and loss, that you're feeling those things. And in fact, you know, it's so important that you allow yourself to feel your feelings. Oftentimes it depends on who you are. Some of us are more emotional than others, but oftentimes it's really easy for us to just sort of push our emotions aside, and sometimes our society kind of teaches us to do that, especially like I was socialized as a male person in this world, and in America, that being a male and expressing your emotions, is kind of taboo. So, you're supposed to be tough and strong and not be emotional. And so, I know my demographic, and most people watching this are probably women, but some of you are men. And regardless, I do think that our culture kind of has this sort of suck it up mentality, and so we learn at a young age to not express our emotions, to feel our emotions fully. We give ourselves excuses to try not to feel them. And I know, especially too in spiritual communities, and I think with the law of attraction, sometimes it can become scary to have a negative emotion, right? Because you're like, oh my God, I don't want to attract that into my life. I gotta just have love and light, happiness, love and light. I can't feel this thing. But trust me, by not feeling the feeling that's there and pushing it down, and just sort of pretending like everything's fine, you're actually shoving it into your shadow, which is then, making it at the forefront of your subconscious, which will then, allow it to grow and ruminate and really wreak havoc in your life way, way, way more than just simply saying, okay, I need to give myself the space and the opportunity to feel these grief, to feel the loss, to feel sad. Even if I made the choice to walk away from these people, a part of me is really sad that I even had to do it in the first place. And, because of that, I need to give myself the space to feel sad about it a little bit, and that's okay. And like I said, you don't need to wallow in it. And remember, with the Five of Cups, it is about that ultimate perspective shift. So what you do is you give yourself the space and the time to feel things as deeply as you can, and then you move on, right? So you're not going to be there forever. You're not going to feel those emotions forever. But by giving yourself like even just an afternoon, like, okay, this evening, I'm going to take a nice bath or a shower, light some candles, some incense, play some music, and then just try to cry it out. Maybe journal, have a journal session, express all my feelings that I'm feeling. You can feel all of it. It's all these things that you need to get out, right? Write them all down on a piece of paper, and then never read it again, but just feel it all out, write it all down, and then either throw it out, burn it, whatever. And then that's it. And then you move on. And then you say, okay, now I'm moving on. I gave myself the time, I gave myself the space, now I can move on. Trust me, it will really help to do that work. And then you won't, it won't be kind of, like I said, when you push it into your shadow, it sneaks out in really uncomfortable and strange places, right? So then it's like it might express itself in anxiety, right? And with this overthinking, with being really stuck in your head, I feel like you're really stuck in your head with all this swords energy, it really could be expressing itself in anxiety. And it might be coming so out of nowhere, and you don't know where it's coming from, you don't understand. It's because you haven't really processed those emotions. And so it's like you're kind of being given this opportunity, right? This is the moon cycle. So maybe this moon cycle, like, I gave all of these understandings of walking away from certain people, but that might be just specific to me. Take it for your situation. Although I do see you walking away from people, and I do see these challenging cards. So if this is resonating with you so far, I feel like that's your situation. But whatever your situation is that's making you feel these emotions, and if you're feeling disconnected from them and you don't understand why, use the moon cycle this month to do the emotional processing, right? Like I said, moon cycles are a wonderful opportunity to work on manifesting something. And for you this month, I think that the manifestation that would be the most beneficial would be manifesting emotional clearing, right? Okay, I have unexpressed emotions. Help me this month to clear my emotions, to bring up the emotion that needs to be released, to feel it, and then to release it. And then remember, like I said, the full moon is the moment of release. So I think that this full moon coming up for you within this Pisces new moon season, right? When the full moon comes, I think it's on the March 30th or something like that. That's going to be very, very powerful for you. A really great opportunity for you to feel all of these things, to release everything that needs to be released. But you could take this entire moon cycle to really come to the understanding, right? Because if you set the intention, like, okay, this moon cycle, I'm really going to release these emotions. Like, this is what I want to do. By setting that intention on the new moon, you'll start to notice them popping up in your mind throughout the month as it comes up to the full moon on the 30th. So then you can write them down, right? I really, maybe start a note in your phone if you use that, or have a little pad of paper with you. But every time you think of something like, oh, maybe that's why I'm feeling this, right? Write it down. Just keep writing them down, little reminders. And then on this full moon on the 30th, I think having a release ritual for you might be the great day for you to do that, that sit down to just like clear out those emotions. You might naturally feel like you end up there anyway, because I tend to find that with the full moon, I end up being very emotional anyway. So, yeah, anyway, final 3 tarot cards for you come from the Universal Waite Deck. And we have the 10 of Pentacles. Oh, great. Yeah. Forgot to mention that part of your aspect here. You've got the Temperance, and you've got the Ace of Cups. Oh, this is really beautiful. So remember, I was saying you have kind of a new beginning coming up. So it's interesting. It's like, as much as you have this sort of like this thoughts happening and this sort of, repressed emotions, at the same time, like I said, with that 5, 6, 7 energy, you've been working really, really hard to make something happen. And this month, it seems like this month is going to be a big breakthrough for you. This moon cycle is going to be a super breakthrough for you. So, as you set your intentions this month, you have both the start and the finish of the Pentacles suit. You have the Ace and the 10, which is amazing. So Pentacles are all about the material world, your body, your physical location, money, abundance. It's very much this deeply abundant energy. So the 10 of Pentacles is a very, very, very abundant card. It's all about this beautiful, abundant energy. And the Ace is saying you have a new beginning coming towards, a lot of times it can talk about business ventures. It can talk about jobs. It can talk about how you make money. It can talk about some kind of financial windfall sometimes. And so, to have them both together like that, I feel like this is, and with this 6 of Pentacles, which I said is like this fruit, is ready to harvest. I think whatever you've been working on, maybe project-wise, you're going to have some kind of breakthrough this month too. So be open to that coming in. Be open to flowing through with that. And so as you release these emotions, as you release sort of whatever this bubbling up is coming up here, you're also going to have this opportunity to open yourself up to abundance. And it's also a new opportunity to open yourself up to a new beginning and happiness too, with the Ace of Cups. And so with the final tarot card here being the Temperance card, the Temperance card to me is this energy of, transformation of 2 opposite forces and to create something new. And a lot of times I relate it to that adage of when life throws you lemons, make lemonade, right? So it's like, I see it as you having this opportunity where with that 5 of Cups here, remember, it's like, it's all about your perspective. You might be given situations this moon cycle that are maybe somewhat challenging, but instead of seeing them as dead-end challenges, like, oh, I can't believe this is happening to me, and I can't believe this is how it's going to go down again, and blah, blah, blah. Instead of having those kinds of feelings with it, instead try to ask yourself, okay, well, how is this an opportunity? What would this allow me to do? yes, this might be a challenge, but what could I make out of it? How can I make this into lemonade? And you'll be surprised. I think that you'll have an opportunity to really do that may even be financially abundant, which is beautiful. So those are the tarot cards. Now we're going to do your oracle cards, and then that'll be your reading. So we'll start out with Healing with the Angels Oracle deck, and you have focus. Interesting. So yeah, I do feel like mentally you've been really scattered, even though you've been working hard on making this project happen. And I think that mental scattering, like I said, is because there's something brewing up in your subconscious and something probably emotional blockage. I just feel that intuitively. And so this moon cycle, if you do that kind of clearing work, if you set that intention to do that and allow yourselves to have this space to do that kind of thing, I think that you're going to find yourself having more mental clarity from it. You'll be able to focus more on the things you want to focus on by clearing out kind of the stuff that's getting in the way. Next up, we have 2 cards from the Shamanic Healing Oracle. We've got the Death card, which I totally feel from this. Death in tarot and in this oracle deck isn't really scary. It's more about change. It's about transformation. It's about the endings of cycles and the opening up of new things. And so I feel like, you are at the end of certain cycles, with that 6 of Swords of moving on from things. It's like, like I was feeling before, either friendships or places, or there's something that was in your life that you left, that you ended. And I think that ending might be more emotionally difficult for you than you may have originally thought. And so, just give yourself the space to process, and be with yourself, really share some compassion with yourself and some deep self-love. And just understand that, that it's okay. It's okay to go through those difficult situations. It's okay to have those tricky moments. Because, ultimately, you're worth it, and putting yourself in a freeing position to be open to moving towards what you really want in life, it's okay to do that. And it's okay to feel bad that you had to leave friends, or you had to leave places, or you had to leave things. It's okay. It's okay to move away from things that aren't working, but it's also okay to, feel a little sad about having to in the first place, It's a sad situation sometimes, but that doesn't mean that, you're a bad person. That doesn't mean that, things are terrible. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have to mean anything at all. It can just be what it is. And even if you didn't have closure with certain people or certain things, sometimes we don't get that closure in life, and that's really hard. It's really hard to not get closure. But I feel like with that 5 of Cups and those emotions, I think that maybe you need to give yourself some kind of ritualistic closure, and that might help you. That's what's really beautiful about following the moon cycles closely, is that they give you this sort of built-in mechanism, that's so in tune with the natural world that you can have those sort of release cycles, and with this full moon, I think that maybe just giving yourself an opportunity to really see, okay, yeah, this is how far I've come. Okay, yeah, this is what I've done. Okay, yeah, this is what I had to leave behind. And give yourself some kind of if you have to, sometimes, writing a letter that you never send is helpful. If there's somebody you need to write a letter to just kind of say everything you needed to say, that you wish you could just tell them, but you can't, sometimes just write that letter into the void. And maybe that's something that you can burn on the full moon as a ritual of release, something like that. That kind of thing might actually be deeply emotionally beneficial for you for this moon cycle. The next card from the Shamanic Healing Oracle is the Abundance card. Yeah, so it's so interesting with that too. It's like you have both of those. It's like as you let go of the difficult past, you usher in this beautiful, abundant present and future. So it's okay that you're a little bit sad about having to leave things behind, but remember, you're walking towards this ultimate abundance that's coming into your life, and bringing this beauty and this love and this sense of stability, right? I feel that. And even if it's just emotional stability, even if it's just like, calmness, if it's not totally and completely just financial, but like that's what's coming in, this sense of beautiful abundance. So cherish that. That's here for you. It's coming for you. So it's interesting that it's kind of coming together, right? It's like they're both here, letting go and gaining. Release and gain, which is totally the moon cycles and the tides, which is so connected to the moon, right? It's that rising and falling, waxing and waning. Yeah, it's absolutely the moon cycle. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. So yeah, your moon cycle ahead is like totally and completely connected to the moon. That's beautiful. The final card comes from this new oracle deck I got that's called How to Be a Wildflower Deck by Katie Daisy. And it's got a quote on one side and an image on the other. So the image is the strawberry, which is this like, I think it's the ultimate symbol of summertime. I just feel total summer vibes from this card. So maybe you're planning something for this summer. Maybe you're starting to get ideas for the summer. So allow that to happen too, right? Like, we have moon cycles and then we have seasons, which actually operate very similar to the moon cycles, right? In our seasons, we have the waxing and waning. We have the the new moon, which grows and begins through spring to culminate at the full moon or the summer, and then to wane into the new moon again at winter. And I feel like we're starting to get the beginnings of spring here, depending on where you are in the world. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's different, but if you're in the northern hemisphere, we're starting to get the first hints of spring, and I feel like that means we're at this sort of new moon stage almost of our year, as well as the new moon of the moon cycle. So maybe this is sort of giving little hints of maybe it's also time to start setting your springtime intentions for summer, where it will culminate at the full moon of the summer equinox, right? So I feel that. I just feel that with that spring strawberry card. So start thinking about that too, if you have any fun plans for the summertime, what you're trying to do. I find for myself too, if you're trying to manifest something big, any kind of business thing, any kind of money ventures, I find for myself that, and you might be different, but I'm very in tune with nature. It's just a part of me. But I find for myself, big giant manifestations, big giant projects, big giant things, they tend to fall into the same kind of thing, like I was saying, of the waxing and waning of the moon cycle, but with the year cycle. So it's like I find summer to be my culmination for really big things, and then things start to wane a little bit, and then winter tends to be a little bit barren, not totally, but for projects and things, it's like, okay, this is sort of where I'm in my regroup, recap. But then springtime, I just feel like, oh, nope, here it is. I've got the energy, it's building. What am I building? What am I working on? That's how I feel. So you might be similar to that. I don't know. But then the other side, we have this quote, which is savor life. And there's a big old horn honking outside. So yeah. Savor life, pile number 3. Savor life. Sometimes it's so easy to get stuck in thinking about the past and thinking about all these things that didn't go right. But you know what? You're alive right now. You're alive. You have the ability to thrive. You really do. Things can work for you. Things are here for you right here, right now. Look around wherever you are watching this video. Just look around you. There's probably really wonderful evidence of your abundant nature sitting right in front of your face right now. I believe it. I'm just looking at all my plants. I'm a bit plant obsessed. I used to live in a house with a garden and I gardened all the time, but now I live in an apartment, so I just got all of these houseplants. And my mom, I'm going to show you this. My mom just bought me this really cute little pot, you know, with this little cute plant. But I feel like he's totally in the Savor Life vibes, right? Like, be like this little dude right now. He's just like, I'm just so content to just sit and dream. So much so that I have a plant growing out my head. So maybe that's kind of the vibes for you this moon cycle. Savor life. Do what you can to savor your own life, you know. Anyway, pile number 3, I'm going to leave it there. That was a really nice reading. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think either way. I really do love hearing everybody. It's just really, really nice for me. Give this video a like too. That seems to help. Share it around. And if you'd like a private reading with me, I have them on the website. You can check that out at junodrome.com. And we do have both a Facebook page and an Instagram, so you can check that out at Junodrome Tarot on Instagram, and I think it's the same on Facebook. You can just Google Junodrome Tarot or search Junodrome Tarot on Facebook, and you should be able to find it there if you want to follow that. Yep, think that's it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you later. See ya. Hey there, pile number 4. Welcome to your reading. This is going to be your reading for what to expect for this upcoming moon cycle. So we have the new moon in Pisces, which is happening right around when I'm posting this. I'm hopefully going to end up posting this tonight after I finish filming your video on Friday, but if I don't, it'll be on Saturday, the day of the new moon, Saturday, March 13th. So new moons are a wonderful time for setting intentions for the following moon cycle. We can use the moon cycle and the phases of the moon to really help us come to better understandings of ourselves. We can help flow through the cycle of our own personal lives alongside the waxing and waning of the moon itself. And the more that you pay attention to the moon cycles, the more you start to see your own mood shifts matching those of the moon, which is really incredible. So the new moon is all about setting intentions. It's about planning. It's about imagining and daydreaming for our future month, setting what we would like to have happen, what we are open to having occur in our lives. And then the full moon tends to be the climax of those intention sets. And the full moon is a great time for releasing things that no longer serve us, letting out the things within that are trapped that no longer wish to be trapped, so that we kind of free ourselves moving forward. And so with that in mind, this reading is not just about what to expect on this Pisces new moon, but also what to expect for the entire moon cycle coming up, culminating on the full moon on, I believe, March 30th, and then ending with the next new moon on April 11th. So with that in mind, let's begin your reading here. You chose the reading with this beautiful green stone. I think this is serpentine. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Something like that. It just reminds me of a forest, and I'm just looking at all my green plants. Right before I started this video, I realized that I'm wearing green leggings and a green shirt all at the same time. So I don't know, this energy of plant, like photosynthetic greenness is really coming in with this foresty kind of energy. Maybe this is a great month for you to have a return to nature of some sort. Really beautiful vibes I got going here. So we're going to start out with quite a few cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot. So that will set us going. We've got the High Priestess. And I don't read reversals, mind you, just letting you know. I find that for general readings in particular, it's nice to just have the symbol itself without any hidden meanings, just to make it easier, especially with so many cards. The Two of Wands, the Ten of Pentacles. Oh, this is going to be a beautiful month for you. The Daughter of Swords and the Three of Swords. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of really wonderful, beautiful, happy energy coming on. I mean, with it to start out the entire reading with the High Priestess, that's powerful. The High Priestess is all about your intuition, connecting into your inner knowing, your inner wisdom. So you know more than you think you do at any given moment. And deep within you is this intuitive connection to the very universe itself. And so you have this High Priestess within you. And, you know, look, we've got the moon coming in, this crescent moon in the background. So a crescent moon is going to be a really, really prominent time for you, either the waxing or waning crescent, but I'm feeling for you in particular. One of the piles I was feeling the waning crescent at the very end of the moon cycle, but for you, I feel like the beginning of the moon cycle, the waxing crescent. So like probably like March 15th, 16th, 17th, those 3 days, those are going to be powerful days for you. So definitely watch out for that, for this moon cycle. Be really connecting into your intuition, and what your intuition is going to show you are some of the plans for you moving forward. The Two of Wands is all about kind of like having a vision for moving forward, moving and traveling, maybe doing some traveling, doing inward journeying within yourself to figure things out. I feel like you're going to unlock within you, with this High Priestess energy in the next few days. If you're watching this when I post it, if not, you know, it lasts when it does. So whenever you find this, if you watch this, I think that you'll find resonating messages regardless of whether you're watching it on the Pisces new moon or not. But if you're watching this as I'm posting it, those dates I gave are really going to be powerful for you, of connecting within to your own inner knowing to get a better idea of how you want to move forward. Right? And like I said, is the new moon is sort of great for setting intentions. One of the other readings, I was getting this feeling that I feel for you as well, that this particular moon cycle, I think, is really powerful for us setting our yearly intentions. So as we move into spring, this particular moon cycle will move us into spring. By the end of it, we'll be in spring. And so springtime is this perfect time to start building our energy to climax and culminate in summer, which summer feels like very full moon vibes for me, whereas spring feels very new moon, right? We got our budding spring plants that culminate into the summer, and then with fall, we have the waning of that moon cycle, or that year cycle, seasonal cycle. And so, you know, I find for myself, I actually kind of end up matching the seasons, where it's like springtime is this powerful, great setting intentions for big projects, big things, big ventures, adventures, travel adventures. I start to think about those things in the spring and dream and daydream and culminate. And then by the summer, I have this, you know, I get the manifestation of those things. So I feel like that's kind of what we're going to do. What you're doing for this moon cycle is allowing yourself to have that spark of inspiration to start planning your next steps. And it's leading you into this Ten of Cups energy, which is this like ultimate happiness. And so as you have this year, you have these two kind of contrasting cards here coming in with these two swords. Now the swords are all about the mind. With the Three of Swords, you know, the Three of Swords is this heartbreak card. And it doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going to break your heart. A lot of times for me, you know, the Three of Swords is this, it's an energy that just kind of sits there in your heart chakra and your heart center. When we have difficult things happen to us, and I think that it's very hard to get through life without having challenging things happen, without having suffering of some sort, even those of us who have privileges of certain kinds, it's still, there's suffering is almost a universal fact of human life. And that can be something that actually unites us, you know, that through our pain, we start to understand and empathize with others. I feel like with the Three of Swords energy, it's all about this idea that you've had some heartbreak, you know, you've had some difficult things in your past, and that energy is still kind of sitting there in your heart a little bit, even if you've moved on from it, even if you've dealt with a lot of it, you know, you still have a little bit of that energy kind of hanging around. I feel that. And I feel like with the Ten of Cups showing up there and this Two of Wands, it's almost like, you know, this moon cycle is going to be bringing you the opportunity to let that go a bit, to sort of release it. And I think that's what's going to be powerful for the full moon. When the full moon happens on March 30th, I think that will be an amazing opportunity for you to finally let go of some of this heartbreak. You know, like I was saying, the full moon is a great opportunity to release things. So feel that as you move forward in this moon cycle. You know, you might have things start popping up around, you know, starting the 25th, 26th, 27th, you'll start thinking about these things. And, you know, it might feel like, oh my God, why am I thinking about this stuff? I don't want to be thinking about this anymore. You know, let it be an opportunity that it's coming up to be released. So, you know, for full moons, and I'm probably not going to do, I might do a full moon reading, but I'm not sure yet. With full moons, what you can do is like what I normally do for my full moon. I do a little mini ritual sometimes where I'll write down all the things I'm ready to release, and then I'll burn the piece of paper. So, you know, you might do something like that. Start documenting those things when they pop up, like, oh, I'm ready to let go of this. Write it down. And then when you get to the full moon, you can burn that. And that symbolic burning is really like saying, okay, I'm ready to let it all go. And then with the Daughter of Swords there, you know, the daughters in this deck is the pages in most decks. And the pages are all about new beginnings and new starts. And so I think that this moon cycle, as you let go of some of that past pain, and as you start dreaming of your future steps and your year moving forward, you know, you've got the pages are like a new beginning, and with the swords, it's like a new thought process, because the swords are all about your mind. So maybe having a new idea, some new thoughts, a new perspective. Hopefully you don't hear the music going on outside. There's a really loud radio going. Oh, and it just stopped, so that's great. So, well, not really. Okay, that's fine. So, you know, I see this energy of a new perspective coming in, you know, a perspective shift, starting to see things in a different way, in a different light that might be really helpful for you moving forward. So we'll put these two here. Next up, we have another quite a bit. You've got a lot of cards. That's kind of cool. We've got another 5 cards. This is from the 1JJ Swiss deck. It's from the 1970s, and one of my favorite decks. We've got the Sun. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, you have some really lovely energy in this reading. The Queen of Wands, such passion. Ooh, the blank card. I love that. Not all decks have a blank card, but this one does, and I think that's really great. It's like the blank rune in the rune set, very similar. We've got the World. Wow. And we've got Junon, which is the High Priestess in this deck. So you have the High Priestess twice. You know, I say this every time it happens, and it actually happens in more readings than not, because I use so many decks. Whenever we get 2 cards showing up, the same card twice in a reading, it's really showing up to let you know that this is the most important message for you. So really, as you move forward this month, the biggest thing for you, and you might want to even set an intention this way when the new moon happens, You might want to set an intention to really tune into your own intuition. Intuition is going to be the key word for you this month, and it's going to be what really helps you sort through some of the past stuff as you move forward, as you start to see your way forward into your future. Your own intuition, your own inner knowing, your own inner high priestess is really going to lead the way in that. So stay tuned for that. I'm also starting to notice there's a lot of twos. You have a 222. So 222 might be, that's an angel number, 222. That might mean something to you. So tune into that. There's also a die sitting over here with a number 2 on it. That's fun. I love that. With the blank card, blank, anything blank for me is always this encouragement to breathe in, to clear your mind, to clear your headspace. For a long time, I read billboards everywhere, and like on the bus and stuff, billboards on the side of buses to be signs from my guides. When I was really first starting to try to communicate with my guides, I would read into the signs in the buses, and it still happens. I get signs on buses all the time, but whenever there would be none there, like there would just be an empty spot where a billboard normally was, that to me was always a signal to say, okay, it's time to meditate. It's time to breathe. It's time to go within. It's time to clear my thoughts. I'm thinking too much. So, I get that picture with this. It's like, when you tune in, to tune into your intuition, the best way to tune into your intuition is to really clear your mind. Because, sometimes it can be hard to distinguish between like anxiety and intuition. And the biggest way is that like anxiety will be going really, really fast, and it'll be like screaming and yelling at you, and kind of angry or trying to scare you. If you have any kind of fear coming with a thought, the fear is really an indication that, okay, this is not my intuition. This is anxiety. This is fears talking. Your intuition will be very decisive. It will be very clear, and it will be really quiet. So it's like, you just have to calm your whole being, really take deep breaths. If you want to practice that with me right now, we'll breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. So already for me, I've started to slow down, started to clear, started to come back into calm. And when you start to do that kind of practice, you'll really begin to understand your intuitive understanding and knowing. And so maybe meditation might actually be really helpful for you this month as well. Maybe starting some kind of meditation practice if you haven't already have one. I meditate daily personally, and it's really, I don't force it. I don't force myself. I don't try to do something crazy. When I first tried to start meditating, I would be like, I can do a half an hour, no problem. And I could technically, but then I would never want to do it again, and it would feel like a chore, So now I just do 10 minutes. I do it right when I get home. I walk in the door, I put my keys down, I light my little meditation candle, turn out the lights, set a timer, and I just breathe. And it's really great. It's a great way to enter my space, enter my house, but it's a great way to come back into myself. And I think that kind of thing, you don't have to do it like I do. You can set whatever kind of meditation practice you want. You can even do guided meditations on YouTube. Those can be easier sometimes. So I just recommend checking that kind of thing out. Doing meditation is really going to help you come back to center, and then it'll help you hear your intuition even easier. Now with these other cards here, you have the sun, which is just like, it's just a bright, happy day. It's the energy of a beautiful, wonderful day where everything is great and nothing is scary, nothing's to be afraid of, so you have that beautiful sunny energy coming in this month. I think is going to be really bright and wonderful for you, because you also have the 10 of Cups, which is ultimate happiness. So you have ultimate happiness energy here present for you, which is so, so, so beautiful. With the Queen of Wands, this is this energy of being in your own power. I think that maybe you're coming back into your power here, which means really coming into yourself and not allowing anything or anyone to have power over you, not being a victim to any consequence of any situation. It's like you being totally in your own strength. I feel that, and I feel like you following your inspirations, having really creative spark this month, because the Queen of Wands is a deeply creative card, and just like she's so passionate about her inspirations that she just jumps after them, and she's unafraid to follow her inspirations wherever they lead, and normally they lead to really wonderful places, especially with the sun next to her there. And then you have the World card, Le Monde, which is the world is all about, it's like the graduation card. It's like a culmination. It's like you made it so far that you're moving on to the next level. You're graduating to the next phase. So you've really completed a cycle. It's like the very completion of a cycle. And so this moon is sort of, with the new moon coming in, it's really like a new beginning and a new cycle for yourself, which is really cool. So our final tarot cards, we have 3 from the Universal Waite Deck, and then we'll get into the Oracle cards after that. But you have the 4 of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, and the High Priestess. Holy moly, guys, you got the High Priestess 3 times. That is really crazy. I think another reading too, I don't remember, it was either 2 or 3, got 3 of the same card as well. I don't remember which one, but that's rare. That is rare for me. It's rare for me to have all 3 decks have the same card. So that's really powerful imagery. This High Priestess, triple High Priestess, so you have a 333 as well. You have 222333. Those are 2 angel numbers. That's really powerful. You also have 2 pages, so it's like very much a new beginnings energy, especially with that World card. You're graduating to the next phase, and it's going to be one where you're like even psychic almost. I get psychic energy from this as well, really connecting into psychic gifts. If we all kind of have psychic gifts in some dimension, even if you don't really believe in it that way. Like we all have powerful, minds that we don't quite understand, and levels of consciousness that can be reached that are transcendent of normal everyday consciousness. And I think for you in particular, that this moon cycle might be sort of opening you up to that, opening you up to some deep gifts and abilities in the psychic realms, which is really cool. So you've got that, and you've got that going for you here, which is pretty cool. With this 4 of Pentacles energy, it's really kind of, it can be somebody who's like really protecting their energy and their assets, and sometimes a little overly protective. So I think, this is kind of coming in, with the sun here. Remember you did have that 3 of Swords energy. So I think that this is tying into that, where maybe you, with that 3 of Swords, saying that like you've been hurt in the past. So maybe that makes you a little bit reticent to put yourself out there, a little hesitant to really be very open or be very really putting yourself out there. I think that this reading is encouraging you with the sun here in particular to be like, hey, you know what, now is actually a really good time for you to start pursuing this thing that you've been dreaming about, with that Queen of Wands. Now is actually a really great opportunity for you to be a little bit more vocal about who you are and what you're doing, and that's going to be really beneficial for you, that's actually okay to do. It's okay to open up a little bit. And then with that Page of Cups here, it's another new beginnings card. You're really in a new phase where you are allowing yourself to find happiness, whereas maybe before it might have been difficult for you to be in this deep, happy energy. You're going to have this opportunity open up for you, especially, because you also have the 10 of Cups, to really find deep happiness and the beginning phases of it, the openings of it. Your intuition is going to start to show you what the path towards ultimate happiness looks like for you, because it looks different for every person. So now we've got some Oracle cards here. We'll start out with healing with the Angels Oracle deck. And you have healing. Yeah, so, you know, especially with that Three of Swords and all the sun and the cups and everything, I think that this might actually be a deeply healing month for you, where you can start to let go of some past difficult pain that you've been holding on to that might be really, really old, you know? This could be, you know, emotional pain from childhood even. It's like stuff that's really, really, really deep in your subconscious, stuff that's really, really deep in there. This might be a really great opportunity for you to finally let go and heal some of those deep wounds, finally and completely. And with those triple high priestess there, it's like maybe you'll start to see things from a clear perspective. Your intuition will show you a full understanding of situations from your past that you just didn't quite have the right perspective on, or just like maybe it's a childhood situation that happened and you just are holding on to, without knowing in your subconscious, the child perspective of a situation. And maybe you'll start to see an adult perspective that actually opens you up to a healing new perspective with that page of swords energy, the Daughter of Swords here. You know, this new perspective, a new adult perspective on the situation that's you know, will show you like, oh, you know what, I can finally understand like why this parental figure was the way they are. And yeah, maybe it doesn't condone everything, but I get where they were coming from now in a way that I just didn't understand in childhood, you know, something like that. I think that maybe that kind of thing will come up this month. And that will be a really freeing and healing process for you to have that. Next up, we have a card from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it is the growth card. Yeah, the growth is all about growing, and it's about patience. You know, look, you've got the oak symbolism. We have both the acorn and the oak leaf. So, you know, the acorn is like, it starts out with this little tiny acorn and it grows into this giant, massive oak tree. So it's like, you know, really recognizing your own growth, you know, especially with that world card in this reading. You know, that's all about transforming and stepping up into the next phase of being. And so, you know, to have that growth here is like really encouraging you to look at how far you've come, because you've come so far. And especially, you know, maybe that's connected with this healing and these childhood wounds I'm kind of feeling. You know, you start to see like, wow, I am not in that at all anymore. And if that wasn't a childhood thing, if this is more of a, a relationship you were in that may have been a long time ago, I just feel like this is something that was a while ago, you know, like over a year ago. It doesn't have to be like, but it doesn't feel very recent to me, especially with all these other cards. It feels like something you've been kind of healing for a long time, maybe slowly healing for a long time, and maybe you've even been consciously working at trying to heal these wounds. But this is going to give you a new perspective, and that perspective shift is actually going to be more healing than you would have expected. It's like you're really going to open up to the understanding like, oh, you know what? I'm really not in that place anymore. I'm really not there. And as much as I might have hard days sometimes where I feel like I am there, or I feel like I can never move forward, or I feel like it's just always going to be that way, actually, in reality, it is not that way anymore. And I don't have to keep viewing myself as if I am who I was then, because I'm not. I've grown. I've changed. I've become someone different. I'm something completely different now. I feel like that kind of perspective shift is what's coming in for you this month and this moon cycle, and that's kind of the gift that you're going to be given, is a total understanding on an intuitive, deep subconscious to conscious level, like this inner knowing, like a very, very, I just get this like energy, you know, where you just release it all and you're like, oh, okay, it's okay, you know, this calm energy. And I'm just looking at this plant that my mom got me. You see this little cute little plant, but he's in this little planter where he's just got this very, very calm. Like that's going to be you this month, you know, especially with that sun energy of like, oh, and you're just like releasing all of those little extra problems that might have been sitting around there. It's like, you don't need them anymore. It doesn't need to happen. It's all done. It's all finished. Final card comes from How to Be a Wildflower Deck by Katie Daisy. It's this new oracle deck I got that I'm really in love with. But one side is a symbol, the other side is a quote. The symbol that you have is the octopus. And you might want to Google octopus symbolism because the internet has tons of meanings from animal symbolism that's really powerful. But the images I'm getting to mind, you know, if you think about the octopus, they spray ink when they're afraid. You know, they have this cloud of ink that they can run away from. And it's sort of like this haze, right? And it's reminding me of this Four of Pentacles energy. And with the Three of Swords here, I'm just feeling a little bit of that in this. So like that is this idea that like, you know, you don't need the smoke screen anymore. You know, you don't need that to protect you. If you're hiding behind something, you know, if you're spraying your ink to run away, you know, take that metaphorically for yourself. It's sort of like this month is going to come in to show you that, you know, you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to defend yourself in that way anymore because there's, you know, you already ran away from that stuff. You're not in a situation where you need that anymore. Now, the octopus is also this like very cunning creature. They're incredibly intelligent. They're very flexible. They can get out of any situation. So maybe it's like giving yourself credit to know that even if you enter into a difficult situation again, because, you know, we're all in life, tricky things happen, but it's important to like really trust yourself and really trust your own ingenuity and intuitiveness to say like, if you're this octopus here, the octopus can get out like the octopus can fit under a tiny crack under a door. You know what I mean? They can squish their whole body to fit through, you know, a pinhole, you know, like if they have to. So it's like you have that ability to really squeeze your way out of anything. And that's invaluable. You know, even if a difficult situation were to occur again, you would be able to get out of it, no problem, unscathed even. So now let's read the quote. Always be on the lookout for the presence of wonder. And that is an E.B. White quote. If you don't know, E.B. White is the author of Winnie the Pooh. And they are also one of the co-authors of Strunk & White's Grammar Rules. If you went through English class in the United States, you might know that. Anyway, I like that quote. Always be on the lookout for the presence of wonder. Yeah, so then, you know, that's part of the perspective shift too, is like, be open to this wonder, you know, the wonder of the universe, the beauty of the universe. It's always there. So just keep your eyes out for it, you know, and always be on the lookout for it too. You know, that's showing me too of like this idea of, you know, I was talking to you about how I get signs from my guides and you know, I look into billboards and stuff to see. So I think that maybe that's a double message of like, keep your eye out for any kind of, you know, double meanings in life, you know, these synchronicities in your life. I think you'll probably have a bunch of them this month. So just like keep an eye out for, you know, beautiful, wonderful, silly, crazy, wonderful. I already said wonderful, but I feel that twice. Synchronicities that just pop up into your life. You're also the pile that got 333 and 222. Yeah, those are both angel numbers. So you might start seeing those kinds of numbers around. Keep an eye out. You know, that's the universe kind of just like knocking on your window saying, hey, there's more to life. We're here. Everything's here. You know, smile. This is great. You have this beautiful, happy, sunny day here. Yeah, this was a very wonderful reading. I loved this reading so much. So yeah, pile number 4, that's what I got for you. Let me know in the comments what you think. I do love hearing from everybody, so I would love to hear your comments. If you'd like a private reading from me, I have them on the website. You can check that out at junodrum.com. And we've got an Instagram and a Facebook page. You can find both of those by looking up Junodrum Tarot. It's at Junodrum Tarot on Instagram, and I think it's the same on Facebook. So yeah, check us out. Let me know what you think, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Pile number 4. I will see you later. Bye.